There's a lot of intrigue surrounding the 23-24 NBA season that is just a few days away from officially starting, and the same can be said for this rookie class. Even beyond the Rookie of the Year race that should feature some of the more impactful first seasons we've seen recently, there's a whole lot of candidates that could realistically make an all-rookie appearance. So I'm here to talk predictions and who I believe will come away with these honors to start the year. Now, my predictions don't necessarily change how I feel about the long-term outcomes of these rookies' careers, but just who I think makes the biggest immediate impact. But starting with the first team and who I would currently pick for Rookie of the Year, we've got none other than Victor Wembanyama. Wemby is truly one of the most talented and rightfully hyped prospects in the history of the game, and in the preseason he showed off many of his unbelievable abilities on both ends of the court while also being a walking highlight in the process, and I'm confident that's going to continue. Now, I am curious to see how San Antonio continues to use him, both defensively, playing a lot at the 4, operating as a roamer and weak side guy, and even straight matching up with wings, and then offensively doing everything from bringing the ball up and running DHOs to serving as a lob and pick and pop threat to also trying to exploit mismatches. There's just so much stuff that they'll be able to do with him, and I just kind of want to see where he takes his game, how effective he is from 3 early, because that'll be a key, and then how he reads defenses as a passer as well. And then from a team perspective, how do they handle lineups? Is he at 5 at the end of games? Where does Sohan fit best with him? All that kind of stuff too. But beyond that, Wemby's going to have the biggest role of any rookie as the best player on the Spurs and a potential all-star from the jump. You match that with him being a supremely unique talent, someone that will easily compete for an all-defense spot, maybe even DPOY, and transform this group on that end. And that makes him my pick to win Rookie of the Year and of course be on first team. I'm sure he'll have some ups and downs along the way, but he'll probably end up running away with this award even with some other big-time candidates this year. Moving on to another truly unique and highly impactful 7-footer, Chet Holmgren is the second first-team selection and a no-brainer one at that. Originally in the 2022 draft but never stepping on the court due to a foot injury, Chet does have a bit of an advantage over others just being in an NBA organization for a year, but in terms of impact, his rim protection and offensive versatility at the 5 as a roller, floor spacer, and playmaker is going to be infinitely valuable to this Thunder squad and could very well push them over the top as a true playoff team. Like Wemby, I'll be curious to see what lineups they go with and how well he handles playing the 5 versus the more physical bigs in the league, particularly on defense, because offensively he's a matchup nightmare for many 5s if he's shooting the ball anywhere near the level he has in the preseason. Now, one advantage I could see him having in the eyes of the voters is his team is much better than most rookies, and that success could be a deciding factor if it's anywhere near close production and impact wise. But an all-defense candidate with his offensive skill set is enough to be in this conversation if everything was even, and he should compete for that title regardless. The third first-team pick, and probably the last guy I think has any real chance to win Rookie of the Year, is Scoot Henderson. With Damian Lillard heading to Milwaukee, Scoot is going to play a major part in Portland's backcourt as one of the lead playmakers alongside Anthony Simons, and Scoot's ability to get downhill with the best of them, make plays for others in a variety of ways, as well as his competitiveness and upside he has as a scorer makes him a lock for my first team, and I'm excited to see what he does in year 1. He won't be without his rookie moments. I want to see where he goes as a shooter, especially off the dribble, where he's at defensively, and just kind of what that synergy looks like with those other 2 young guards that factor into the future of this franchise. But he's already looked like a veteran in preseason, and in many other years he'd be one of, if not the clear front runner for the award. Next on this first team and 4th on the rookie ladder, we've got Ausar Thompson of the Detroit Pistons. Ausar's ability to impact the game in multiple ways has and is going to be on full display and probably help the Pistons win a handful more games this year. He's got eventual all-defense upside. He's already given some stars trouble, though also getting it back in the process. He's a big-time playmaker in multiple ways, a great cutter and athlete, of course, and even with him still having some holes in his game and needing some refining offensively in the half court, he'll be a focal point and seems to have earned a starting spot at least in the beginning of the season. And if you're a Pistons fan, you got to be excited for what he's shown to this point, and he's just one of those guys who makes winning plays every minute he's out there. I've been almost as impressed by him as Chet and Wemby for different reasons, and though it's maybe not the lock level of the first 3 we talked about, he's got to be on my first team. And then with the last first team spot, we've got Brandon Miller. Despite not currently starting and having just some solid preseason performances, I think he'll comfortably find his way onto an all-rookie team, and I lean towards the first. You know what he brings to the table as a player at 6'9" in terms of his shooting and upside as a complimentary creator, and really just the well-rounded nature of his game. I'll be curious to see where his creation goes throughout the year, whether or not he gets back to the mid-range like he did in high school and where he slots in best defensively in this context, but he's someone I see being one of the more productive rooks, and given how important he is to the future of this franchise, he'll get the opportunities no matter if it's in the six-man role or if he eventually gets to start at some point during the season.
Just dribble.
Now moving on to the second team, we've got another Thompson twin and someone I really wanted to put on the first team, and that is Amen Thompson. Now it won't be perfect, but he'll be a key piece for Houston as a dynamic playmaker, versatile defender, and athlete that is going to fill stat sheets in his minutes. I want to see the progress he makes as a shooter. He's already looked much improved there in the preseason, and then I want to see how quickly he works through some of the hesitancy and overthinking that's been there at times in the preseason, but he's in a good spot. Having Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green to play off of in the backcourt should be good for him. He's got the potential to easily be on his first team, and he's one of the X factors for a Rockets squad that at the very least wants to be better than they've been in recent years. Keyonte George was one of, if not the biggest summer league standout, showing off a dynamic ability to score the ball and make plays, and he's carried a lot of that shot making, shooting, and playmaking upside into the preseason for a Jazz team that's backcourt minutes and roles are all up for grabs. And even with some of that competition, I think they're going to let him figure things out as a point guard, and I expect him to shine at some point during the season, maybe even making a run at a first team spot if he can find that balance of scoring aggression and decision making somewhat quickly. So Keyonte George makes the all-rookie cut. Julian Strawther has been lighting the preseason on fire so far, averaging 18 points a game in 23 minutes on 51, 45, 90 splits. And the way he's shooting, cutting, getting to the floater, and creating a little for himself, I think is going to be a perfect fit in Denver. And on top of that, he's been serviceable defensively to this point, and that was a big question for him. Now, my only hesitation would be if they don't have enough reserve minutes to go around for all three of him, Christian Braun, and Peyton Watson. But at this point, I think it's going to be hard for Michael Malone not to give him an opportunity, because Strawther's been looking the part as one of the most impactful rookies so far. We've got just a couple spots left, and I'm going with Bilal Coulibaly to take one of them. I was initially thinking that he'd play sometime in the G League early on in the season, but based on what I've seen, if Washington is serious about him being a big part of their future and turning this thing around, there's little reason not to play him immediately, especially given they're naturally going to be one of the league's worst teams. He's already looking like a future all-defensive wing, leading the league in steals this preseason. He's got a couple flashes on pull-ups and knocked down a few threes that were encouraging. And honestly, as long as he does that at a decent rate, I think his path as one of the league's best rookies is an easy one. He's made rapid improvements to his game over the last couple years, and I think that'll continue, and that defensive impact will carry him far enough early on, giving him an all-rookie spot and making the Wizards a little more interesting than I previously thought. And finally, there were a lot of options for this last all-rookie spot, but we'll go with Mavs big Derek Lively. Now, he's got a lot of work still to do, but he's going to get a lot of opportunity in a concrete role playing next to Luka and Kyrie. They need him to be kind of like the year 3 version of himself as soon as possible, so we'll see how fast he can put it together. But someone who can finish plays at the rim and has the upside to make a difference defensively at the 5, though again, it'll be a process for him. It makes him a solid bet to be on the all-rookie team entering the season. Now, there is a fairly long list of players I like that'll be in this conversation, but whether it's minutes or simply betting on some others, they ended up on the outside looking in. But I've loved what Kobe Jones has done in preseason for the Kings, and I've been as impressed with him as almost any rookie. And I think he's going to earn rotation minutes at some point, as difficult as that is. And right now, I could even see him playing before Sasha Vezenkov, who was someone I had on my second team prior to seeing his defense in the preseason. I really wanted to put Jarace Walker on here, especially after his first preseason performance, and maybe he does find his way into the Pacers rotation at some point, but right now it looks like they're going to go with both TJ McConnell and Aaron Nesmith over him to start the year. I'd rather have him in there personally, but regardless, he's still a super valuable combo forward who can make plays and defend a lot of spots, so he'll just have to earn it from Rick Carlisle, and we'll see if he can make it happen as a rookie. If Cam Whitmore was on, say, the Wizards or maybe the Hornets, he'd probably be a lock for at least second team, but I don't know how they'll handle the rotation in Houston. He could very easily get some minutes as a backup wing if they do go 10 deep, but also some of the work he has to do as a decision maker could be a deciding factor. Both Cason Wallace and Vasilije Micic are right there for me. OKC has a good problem in figuring out how to shape this rotation with this talent, especially when 3 of your best players are also creators, but both Cason and Micic have been intriguing to me. Grady Dick is bound to be in this mix. He's perfect to put around the core of this Raptors team, and though it was a little up and down in preseason and he could be on the fringe of the rotation to start the year, I'm pretty confident he contributes for them at some point. Toumani Camara has looked a part of a rotation piece, and I think Portland is going to find him very useful on the wing, so I keep an eye on him. Jaime Jaquez feels like he should play immediately, but then when you go look at that Heat rotation, I just don't see where he fills in right away. But, you know, Eric Spoelstra won't hesitate to use him in place of a vet if it is right. And hopefully the groin injury doesn't set back Jaquez too much. And then you've got a guy like Ben Shepherd, who has been a bright spot in Indiana in the preseason and received early compliments from Rick Carlisle, which are a pretty big deal. Trayce Jackson-Davis is going to make a serious contribution for the Warriors at some point, if not early. And then we got to mention both Anthony Black and Jet Howard look like they're out of the rotation in Orlando to start the year, but if they do get opportunities, I could see them being in the mix as well. And Taylor Hendricks is potentially in a similar situation out in Utah. Now there's some others that we could have mentioned that we will during the season if they do stand out in some of these other videos, but that's where we'll keep it for now. And with that, here's a look at the current rookie ladder. Victor leads the way at number 1, and after last night against the Warriors, he's got some room in front of everybody else. Chet is still too good not to have a chance at number 2. Scoot is competing behind them at 3, and then after that, it is somewhat up for grabs. I like Asar most right now at 4, but Brandon Miller and Amin are in the area tied for 5th. But yeah, we'll try to do these updates throughout the year and break down some of the specifics of their play and impact and how they've improved as prospects already, along with who is just putting on the best performance. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment down below of either who you think is going to win Rookie of the Year or your all-rookie team picks. Let me know down below. As always, I'm Keandre. This is HoopIntellect. Until next time, I'm out.